Greetings, friends and future friends. Today I want to talk about guitar picks. Now, if you stay in this business long enough, you're going to spend hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on equipment, amplifiers, effects, guitars, guitar strings, trying to get that great guitar sound. But sometimes you neglect the most important part, the interface between you and the guitar, and that's called the guitar pick. So let's talk guitar picks. Pick selection rule number 1, the thickness of the pick. Now, this isn't written in stone and there are some exceptions, but a thinner pick is going to give you a thinner sound and a thicker pick is going to give you a thicker sound. And it's simple physics. A thin pick would kind of bow over the string because it's so thin, where a thick pick is going to push through there. And with that thick pick pushing through there, it's going to resonate the string a little bit more and make it more of a bassier sound. And a thin pick is also going to bend a little bit and give you more of a clicking sound because it's going to be bending and flipping back, where a thick pick won't do that. So, simple thing to remember, thick pick, thick sound, thin pick, thin sound. Also, you have to think of the comfort. A thin pick, because it's going to bow, will give you an easier ability to play, where a thick pick is going to, because it's going to hit the string harder, you're going to have to put more pressure hitting that string, which means you're going to have to be a little bit more precise on your picking with a thicker pick. So, again, thin pick, thin sound, thick pick, thick sound, thin pick, easier to play, thick pick, harder to play. Pick selection, rule number 2, the shape of the pick. Now, there are all kinds of different shapes of picks out there, but 2 shapes I want to look at are the rounded edge of the normal pick and a more pointed edge of like the jazz picks. And it's simple physics. The standard pick with more of a rounded radius is going to make more contact on that string. So if that pick is at more of an angle, it's going to make a little bit more pick noise. Where a pick that has a sharp edge on it is going to have less contact area, and that way it's going to sound a little cleaner. And then with that, you can maybe do arpeggios. Now, us guys in the 80s that wanted to be shredders, we were actually using jazz picks because they had a little bit of a more point to it, but they were kind of hard to hold. And Dunlop now has a great pick called the Sharp, which is actually a standard pick with a more of a point to it. And it's really great if you're going to do some precision playing. Now, there are advantages to both of those. If you're doing a lot of lead work, I say the Sharp pick is the way to go. But if you're doing rhythms or you're playing acoustic guitars, a standard round edge radius on a regular pick will work fine too. So you got to select your own shape. Pick selection, rule number 3, the most important rule. Now, I'm not going to give you examples of me playing with all these different kinds of picks because my playing style could be different from your playing style. So the selection I made that sounds good might not sound good for you. So what are you going to do about that? Well, you're going to experiment. And how do you experiment? You go get yourself a tackle box and you fill it full of picks. Then what do? You go home and you play them. Get your guitar out, play them with different picks, and hear the different sounds. Now, I recommend you record this because sometimes when you're playing guitar, the guitar will have some noise to it, or the room you're in, you'll hear some noise. But if you record it and play it, record it, you can play it back and you'll hear the different sounds and experiment with all kinds of different shapes and sizes and thicknesses. Also keep in mind is your comfort level. You know, again, we talked about the thin pick is easier to play, goes through the string easier than a thicker pick. So think about comfort and think about sound, record it, play it back a couple of times. And this experimentation will help you find the right pick for your style and the type of music you're playing. Okay, we're now looking at my pick case with all my different picks. So starting over here, we got thumb picks. We got thumb picks that are plastic. You even have some thumb picks that are metal. And then I have a couple of strange picks over here. This is kind of a pick that was a thumb pick, and they incorporated a thumb pick built into it. The only problem was you couldn't get the picking angle right because this thing doesn't move. And then these are traditional picks. These are 0.5 millimeter, 0.6, 0.73, 0.88, and then these guys are 1 millimeter, There's a 1mm. And then for years, I used these picks right here. And this is a 1.14. Really cool. And then, of course, what I got into was the sharp picks. So let's talk about that real quick. Because one of the things we know is the first thing is the thickness of the pick. And again, the thinner pick probably gives you a little thinner sound. And the thicker pick will give you a little more thicker sound. But the shape is just important. Now, for years, I didn't go into this drawer. For years, us guys that wanted to be shredders were using these picks. And these were jazz picks. And you can see that there's a point to them. They have a point. You can see the difference here. The regular pick has more of a rounded edge, and this is a little bit sharper. Now, this is the pick that everybody was using back in the day. It's a little jazz pick. And as you can see, it does have a real sharp point to it, that point. So what does that mean? That means less area hitting that string. So if you look at it, you can see that it has a way sharper point than a standard pick, which means there'll be less area hitting that string, which then could create less pick noise. A regular pick in the green and a little jazz pick in the black. Now what Dunlop did is they created this pick called the Sharp. And you can see it has way sharper of an angle on that end. Even compared with the jazz pick, it's got a lot sharper end, which then means that this point is sharper and gives you less area touching the string. If you look at these two picks compared, you'll see a standard pick, purple, a 1.14, has more of a rounded edge than the sharp 0.88 pick, which means that there's going to be less surface hitting the string on the sharp pick than a standard pick, which could equate to less pick noise. When using the sharp pick, when you change your pick angle, the sound won't change as much as a regular pick would, because when you change the angle, you can see that area is still smaller because of its sharpness than a regular pick. With a regular pick, because it's more rounded, and you change your pick angle, it's going to increase the surface area hitting that string, which then could change the sound of that string when you hit it. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the pick itself. Just like your guitar, just like your amp, just like everything in this industry, you can modify it. And back in the day, back in the 80s when I was playing guitar pretty heavy, I created this. What this is a thumb pick that I cut and modified, and then I super glued it to a pick. It was really cool because I could slide this on my thumb, play like a regular guitar, and I'd still have these fingers free. This was an old one I created long ago. Here are some I created, I think, back in the 90s and maybe up into 2010. And basically what I did is I took a thumb pick, cut it, and super glued it to a pick. And again, you can modify even your pick. Here's even another one of my designs. Now this is a cool little device. It's called the Pick Clip. Chris Broderick created this thing, and it's really awesome. What it does is it holds your pick in place, and you can have these fingers free to do what you want, and then your pick is always there. So the first thing you want to do with this pick clip is when you look at it, you want to make sure that that area right there, you can see where it clips onto the pick. Pull that out a little bit, make sure that is opened up enough that you can get the pick in there. And then make sure this piece right here is opened up enough so that your thumb can fit in there. And then you put your thumb on that, get it comfortable. And then once it's comfortable, make sure that this finger is putting pressure on the back of it as if you're holding a pick, because you want that to be comfortable like you're holding a pick. So you're in this position, you're holding a pick, everything's pretty comfortable. And actually for me, I've been holding it so long, my thumb has actually got a wear mark there. Then the next step is to put a pick
and slide it into the clip. As you can see, I have a pick already in this clip. Then what you're going to do is get that pick clip comfortable back on your thumb again. Make sure this is comfortable more than the pick. Don't worry about the pick right now. Just make sure this is comfortable. Get that on the thumb. Okay, now the pick clip's pretty comfortable on my finger. Now what you want to do is hold the clip and move the pick. Move it around a little bit and then play some guitar. I played a little guitar. And once you're comfortable with that and everything is good, okay, that's perfect. Take it off again, maybe put it back on again. Fits right on there. Yeah, this is good. This is nice and comfortable. And the pick is right where I need it. I need the pick right where I need it to be. This is great. Then once you have achieved that and this is comfortable, you can see that the little teeth on that clip, then what I'd usually do is take a pair of pliers and squish that down and it digs into the pick. And then once it digs into the pick, it's not going to go anywhere. And now the pick clip is comfortable on your thumb. You can play a regular guitar picking style. And if you want to do anything fancy, you take your fingers free. The pick is right there. You can come back and boom, you now have a pick clip that's working. Now for me, I've been using this thing for years and years, and you can see the teeth are just about gone. And it didn't hold the pick very well. But I've got a bunch of these, and what I do is I make up about 7 or 12 at a time. And what I do now is do the same thing. I put the pick clip on my thumb, make sure it's nice and comfortable, play my guitar, move the pick around till it fits good. Then when I'm done, I easily, gently pull the pick clip off. And then what I do is I drop super glue around the inside of this circle, which then glues the clip to the pick. And these things are solid. They're not coming out. And now I have a pick clip, works. And actually, after a while, you'll see a little area on your thumb starts to flatten out a little bit. And this isn't for everybody, but for me, I love it. I love the versatility of being able to do things with these other fingers and not lose my pick. I have another box in my studio I use when I'm recording. Now what I do is I have a little divider in there that has all my pick clips. So what I'll do is I'll take the pick clip out, take the pick clip out, record, and then I'll put it on this side. Then I kind of rotate my pick clips. So after rotating these picks for a while, you can see they start to get worn. Then what I'll do is I'll take a day, break the super glue away, pull these old picks out, clean this area up again, and start all over again. But with the pick clip, it's really cool. I found that if I go into I kind of rotate these picks, I get a nice constant sound. Because one thing about the sharp picks is this end starts to dull. You can actually hear the sound change because you get used to playing on that tip. So what I do is I play these things for, depending on how many sessions I have, I rotate them from one side to the next. Then all I do is pull them out, break the super glue loose, break them out, change them, and start all over again. Okay, I want to talk about the picks I'm using right now. Now this is the pick I use for if I want to do any fast picking or I want to play some heavy metal. I use it in the pick clip, and this is a 1mm Dunlop Sharp. I love these guys. I don't know why, but they just sound good. So this is the pick I use when I'm playing acoustic guitar. Whether I'm doing any lead work or just strumming, through experimentation, I found that this pick sounds the greatest. So this is the one I use for acoustic guitars. Now this is the pick when I'm playing my electric nylon string guitars. Again, through experimentation, I tried all these different picks. This 1.35mm pick really sounds good when you're pulling out some lead riffs on a nylon string guitar. And after you've experimented and you find the picks you really like, and to me, I found 3 that I always use, then you go out and buy a bunch of them. As you can see, I have a lot of blue 1mm sharps. I got a couple of green, these are the 0.88 and then the 1.35. And these are the picks I use actually in the studio. Now the blue picks, again, I'll put them on the pick clip if I'm playing in metal, but even if I'm doing a little jazz riff or something, when I'm playing my electrical guitar and I just have something quick, I'll actually use the 1mm.
Okay, I hope this video gave you some information on how to select the right guitar pick. So remember this, my friends, you have to pick the right pick in order to keep on picking. Take care, my friends, and thanks for watching.